Okay, it has been so long since I have spoken to you guys, and there are so many reasons for it, but the one that I'm going to give you is I needed a reset. I genuinely needed to reset my brain, my body, my heart, everything. But welcome back to From the Pitch to Purpose. I am your host, Sammy B, Samantha Brand, Samwise Gamgee, if you ask my mom. But I am so excited to bring back From the Pitch to Purpose, which is basically just a podcast that talks about life transitions. I have had the most amazing life transitions. I've had some horrible life transitions, but all in all, life transitions is like what it's all about, right? That's basically what life is. It's just a series of a bunch of transitions. And so today I want to talk to you a little bit about my professional soccer career. If you were to Google Samantha Brand right now, Samantha Brand Soccer Haiti, what you would actually see is a bunch of videos and pictures or whatever of Samantha Brand, me, getting fouled on a soccer field. That is because I'm a former professional soccer player, and I say that with my whole chest now. But while I was a professional soccer player, I genuinely did not see the growth that was happening every day I stepped on the field. I did not see the amount of awesome that was happening in my life around me. And I'm now looking back at my career going, wow, I remember when my body was a machine, when it didn't make noise when I stood up, when I could do a workout and still be able to walk the next day. So I have been sitting back and looking at my life transition from a professional soccer player to mother. That has been one of the biggest transitions for me. So a little bit about being a professional soccer player, you end up giving your whole body to your sport. You give your mind mostly to your sport. You give your heart to your teammates and to your team and to effort. And as much as I loved it, as much as I think that those things are so important to me as fundamentally as a person now, that I can make friends really easily because I've had to adapt to so many teams, that I know how to work my body to the bone. A lot of those things ended up becoming bad habits in my life. They ended up becoming things like I was so adaptable as a professional athlete that I started to become adaptable as a person. So I would let partners, I would let friends, I would let family members just kind of dictate what I did and said and everything like that, because as much as I worked on being adaptable in the workforce, I needed to also work on boundaries within my personal life with that. But man, the amount of discipline that I needed to be who I was, and when I look back right now, I'm like, man, I just wish I can get like an inch of that discipline, but I can. It's all within me. But going from having very little autonomy over my schedule, because there were times where they'd be like, hey, there's a contract for you in Iceland in 1 month, want to come? So I felt very, I guess you can say I had very little autonomy over my schedule. I also played for the Haiti women's national team, which meant that my coach could call me up to national team camp whenever it happened. So it would be on a Thursday, and I would be so excited that next month I'm going with my partner or my friend or whatever to this concert. And then I would get a call, and it's like, next month you actually have to be in the Dominican Republic to play for the Haiti national team to keep your spot. So it was I felt at times that I had a little autonomy over my schedule. It felt like an absolute privilege to play for my grandmother's country. Now, I do not want you to misconstrue what I'm talking about with what actually transpired. I'm just talking about the autonomy over my schedule right now. Now, I wouldn't trade it for the world. That's to be said. I just need to say that. But I went from that straight into motherhood. So if you're a mom or a dad or a primary caregiver, you will know that when your kid wakes up, your job starts. Actually, you know what? Job never ends. Let's be honest. Let's keep it a buck here. Your job never ends. That means that even when I'm sleeping, I'm on the clock. My family and I used to joke a lot when I would bring her, my daughter, she's now 4 years old. If you listen to the first ever episode here, you will listen to her cute little voice about a year ago. But my family used to make fun of me and kind of get a little annoyed with me when I would say things like I'd walk into the room with the baby, hand my baby over to an aunt or a mother or grandmother, right? And I would say, I'm off the clock. right? I would joke all the time, be like, I'm off the clock. Now, I can say it all I want. I am never off the clock as a mother. She can be 5,000 million miles away. My heart is with her. My brain is with her. And if anything happens to that small child, it is my a beautifully golden responsibility to make sure she's okay. And I know that, and that's, I think where mom guilt comes in is like, hey, I'm the only one outside of my partner who decided to have this child. So it is always going to be my privilege, but also my responsibility to care for this child. Everyone else in her life can say no. Can you watch her this weekend? No. Can she come and do this? Can all these things, they can all say no. I will never and can never say no to my child in big picture stuff. So going from a lifestyle where I was, jet setting across the country, it was beautiful, but I still had such big responsibilities with my schedule. And I just didn't have time of my own, really. But I'm going to keep saying this because I don't want you to think I'm going boo-hoo, woe is me. I had to be a professional soccer player no. I am just stating facts. So I went from that, right? Just very much my schedule was up in the air. I used to joke and say that I lived my life in seasons, or I would joke and say that it's almost like my life was like the earth is flat. And so at the end of my 6-month season, I had no idea what was left, what was going to happen next, so I just would live like that. And I lived in 6 to 9 month increments where I would have a season, in one country and come back to the US. I'd live my off season here in the States. And then I'd go back to Sweden, or I'd go back to Iceland, or I'd go back to Ireland. And I'd live in 4 to 6 month increments, 6 to 9 month increments for a season. Right. So my life was very free schedule, but also very much dictated by my sport, AKA my job. Okay. And then from that, literally, I did not stop. I went straight from an Irish contract that I played in Northern Ireland. I went straight from that. The day that I got my citizenship in Sweden, I conceived my daughter. So I did not have time to sit with any type of transition from even leaving soccer, even leaving the lifestyle of vagabond, of the nomadic lifestyle that I was living. I was now putting roots down for possibly the first time since I was maybe 15. I was putting roots down, planted in a tiny little town called Ljusdal, Sweden. And I just felt like everything, okay, this isn't me. This is what I do now. I am now going to be a mother. But I transitioned straight from the field, literally unstrapped my soccer boots and went straight into motherhood. I also was at the time transitioning from being not a wife to a wife. So I got married in Sweden to my late husband. If you hear late, yes, I am a widow. There's more podcasts about that. There will be more to come. That's not the transition I'm talking about right now. But I went straight from professional soccer player, and then I was a wife. And then in an instant, I was mother. I didn't really get, I was mother. But I didn't get really a time to transition into wife. I think that in some ways, being someone's girlfriend and fiance, you do get a lot of privileges as wife, but there was just no time between that. So to me, it felt like I went professional soccer player, got to be called someone's fiance for about a year, and then went straight into wife mother. There was very little just wife. I didn't get to do it. So again, I'm telling you, the life transition from being a professional soccer player to instantly being a mother was a whirlwind. Now, if you knew me in my prime, so let's say 23, 24 years old, when I was literally wrecking people on the soccer field, I was very hard to stop. I was a force. And I, again, would never have said that as a 23, 24-year-old. I would never have stood up and been fear me on the soccer field. But I can look back and be now that I have a broken body, I can look back and be holy Toledo Batman. Boy, did I have a body that worked like a machine. A friend of mine used to be kind of annoyed. Excuse me, puberty. A friend of mine used to be a little bit annoyed because I did not train before national team camps. And I could still play a 90-minute game full go, like no stop, right? So my body was very much machine. I had abs for days. I was strong. I could do, 20 pull-ups, all those things. And I went instantly into pregnancy. From my body being like that to pregnancy. And if you know anything about pregnancy, which even if you don't know anything about pregnancy, you can just imagine in the most simple of ways, your body is genuinely invaded by a ton of hormones that we're not used to. You're all of a sudden just tired. I was throwing up so much or all those things. Like, it's just, they say, and I don't know who they are, but I'm sure they're right. A woman's body changes more in the 9 months of childbirth or child rearing than a man's does their whole entire life. Now, I don't know. That is not, you can look it up or whatnot, but when I heard that sentence, it stuck. So I hope it's true. But I can imagine that it's true. Because in those 9 months, my hips opened up, my abs separated, my lower back became almost unbearably injured all the time. I had never had to wear a bra for any other reason except for, nipple covers. And then all of a sudden I was wearing a bra, had to wear a bra. When I walked downstairs, all of a sudden I was like, whoa, that's painful. I've never had to bra before. How does one bra? I just didn't have to. My body was not built that way prior to pregnancy. And so I had all these things. Also, my nose changed. My face structure changed. And everything that we are taught as a female growing up, and when I tell you that the beauty of body image has been changing immensely over the last 10 years, thanks to people like Lizzo or just people who love whatever stage their body is in. It's so different. But as an athlete, seeing my weight go up, seeing my body structure change, seeing my abs disappear, seeing my not even being able to see my feet, I didn't know what to do. And there were times when I felt, you've got to go to the gym, and I'm like, and then there were times where I was like, no, you get to rest. You need to rest. You're literally building a brain in your stomach right now. So my transition from the field and from being someone who, the reason that I worked out, the reason that I stayed healthy, the reason that I did all these things, going straight from that to, wow, now I have this other tiny being that I am responsible for from conception. From conception. You then have to think outside of yourself. And something that I learned also was, even through things in my life like depression and whatnot, it's very me focused. And I remember listening to, I believe, Lauren Holiday of the U.S. national team. She said something like, you know what, playing my sport is very me focused. I have to worry about my body and how it serves me so that I can serve the team and things like. She goes, I want to give more. And I think that it was very interesting because I went from a very me focused sport. Now, Sam Brand, like me as a person and a teammate, I'm not me focused. The biggest thing that I miss about playing soccer professionally, recreationally, anything is team. When I look back, yes, I absolutely love traveling the world. I loved all those things. But when I tell you that being on the Haiti national team and learning about Haitian culture from my teammates was it for me. Being in Sweden and learning all these amazing, beautiful things about them, and their food and their culture and the people, being on a team and recognizing that if the 14th man who's not even on the field and is on the sideline is sad and has down energy, I can do something as, a starter to make their day better. I'm telling you, people, it was always people for me. Always. So I'm telling you that, yes, the act of being a professional soccer player is very you focused, but for me as a person, I was very team focused. But it doesn't take away from the fact that I had to make sure that my body was pristine. I had to make sure that I ate the right things. I had to make sure that I got my ass to the gym. All those things, right? That's still me. I did those things. My intention and my focus was for team, but I still had to do them for me, right? But then I had to, all of a sudden, this tiny little thing was growing inside me. And for the first 10 months of this little tiny person's life, it is just me. It is me, and it is for this tiny child and this tiny little thing. So it was the transition from professional soccer player for me to motherhood was insane. I still to this day struggle with that transition. To this day, I'm like, oh, I would love to just move to Sweden tomorrow. Oh, but wait, hold on. My kid is about to start kindergarten. I can't just move to Sweden tomorrow. You know what I mean? Now, granted, if I wanted to move to Sweden tomorrow, I can, because she's got citizenship. I can get it. Though I'm not talking about logistically. I'm talking about literally, like, I now have sole custody of this child, and it is so incredibly, I'll tell you, it's heavy. And it has been heavy since the day of conception for me, because as we all know, it's me carrying that baby. Yes, my husband was there. My late husband was around. He can cook for me. He can pick up heavy things for me, all those things. But it was essentially in my body. And as the type of player that I was, I always had a lot of responsibility. Whether that was because I was someone in the locker room before the game who was going to dance and make you laugh and loosen you up, or on the field where I needed to score or stop a goal. I loved responsibility within a team as a soccer player. But man, can I tell you that it is real different as a mother? Because in a soccer game, right? Like, if you think about it, if I shoot and I miss, it is, A plus B equals C, right? As a mom, if I do like a life lesson for her at 2 years old or 3 years old, I don't know if that's stuck until she's older and I know if she's an asshole or not. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so different to go to something where in soccer, I can make all these SMART goals. If you've heard about that, whatnot. I can make these measurable goals. I can make them make sure that there's time sensitive. But honestly, with a child, I mean, she could sleep well all night and still be a terror the next day. I can feed her everything correctly, no dyes, all these things, and she can still wake up grumpy as heck because she's just her own being. As a soccer player, I can control how hard I work in a game, and it can result in a goal, a win, status updates, all those things. But as a mom, I hope she's doing well. When people tell me that she's nice, I'm like, oh, good, thank God. People can tell me all day that I'm doing a good job as a mom, but we don't really know until she gets into therapy as an adult and blames me or doesn't. You know what I'm saying? So I am so excited to be talking to you guys again. This is just part one of my transition from professional soccer player to, the mother that I am now. And I will, in my next one, talk a little bit more about how it felt to be a mother in my circumstances and that is a mother in my circumstances where I was across the country or the world. I was on another continent from my own mother, my own immediate family. And my mom never got to see my big belly. She never got to feel my baby kick. And I also became a mother under really strenuous circumstances with my husband and COVID. So I would love to talk to you about that next time. Next episode is coming out in 2 weeks, and I am so excited. And again, this is from the pitch to purpose, and I would love it if you would go tell someone that they're awesome today. I love you. Bye.